All right, so I'm going to start things off with a rhetorical question. So don't answer, don't raise your hand, don't say anything, just think about what I'm asking. Okay, so about a year ago, how many of you all thought I was going to die? When you look at me now, how many of you think I'm never going to walk again? And and the third and most important question is, do you believe in perfection? And hopefully none of you believe in what people would say a perfect life is, because it's unobtainable. You can't have a perfect life, which leads us to think that we have problems and issues that we have to deal with. They can vary from grades, they can vary from, family problems or not making a school sports team. It doesn't really matter. It's a problem. We all have problems, and that's just inevitable. So, but my problem last year was that was me a year ago. So last year around April 6th, at approximately 9 p.m., I was crossing the street to get water and aloe because I was sunburnt. And I was able to go across the street. I got the water and aloe, and I was on my way back, and a man driving what became, in reporters called it, a minibus. He nicked me in the back of the head going 55 miles an hour, and then I was thrown 25 feet and then hit the front of my head on the street. And when the EMTs arrived, so much blood had come out of my left earlobe that it covered 3 of the 4 lanes of the street. And when they assessed my condition, they rated me in a severe traumatic injury and predicted that I would probably not make it through. And I was put on life support, as you can see. It's not the Grey's Anatomy looking life support, it's like real life support. I was on life support for 4 weeks, and brain scans showed that I was in a vegetative state. I would wake up, not know who my family was, not have my personality, and more importantly, probably have to live in a nursing home for the rest of my life, starting at the age of 16. But as you can tell, I made it through. I have recovered extensively, more than doctors could have ever imagined. And I'm here to tell you I'm going to walk. I'm going to make 100% recovery, which is hard to believe, and sometimes I can't even believe it, but it's true. And I've learned a lot of things in the past year of my life. I have a whole new perspective on, this whole meaning of life, what it is, what the purpose of it is, and today I'm just going to talk about one thing that I've learned, and it's this. It's how to remain in control when you have no authority. Now, this is a paradox. It might seem confusing, so I'll reiterate it so you can understand. It is how to control your emotional response to an occurrence in which you have no authoritative power to change. For instance, getting hit by a car. I can't change that. It happened. I can't go back and change it. Or it might be, like I said, not making a soccer team for school. You can't change the fact that you didn't make it. You just didn't make it. Now, the struggle here is that most people, let's change slides. The conflict here is that individuals tend to focus on the negatives rather than the positives, and rightfully so. I say rightfully so because science says, as you can see here in these 2 graphs, that it takes negative emotions and situations generally involve more thinking and is more processed thoroughly than positive ones. And this is a hard fact to face because, in all honesty, we do think of the negatives rather than the positives. And honestly, I don't know what your answers were individually of whether or not you thought I was going to live, but science says that you did not think I was going to live. And so how do we combat science? Like, how do we combat what science says is natural for our brain to do? And this is my combatant. It might be a little cliche, but that's literally how I live my life every day. It's, you got to find the good and the bad, the gain and the pain. You know, whatever it says, you can read it. But it might look a little cliche, and it looks like one of those posters that your teachers might have hung in like 3rd or 4th grade in one of your classrooms. But that's honestly how I live my life every single day. I focus on all the positive things that have happened because of this tragic event, or accident as some people would call it. I don't view it as an accident at all. I wouldn't take it back if I had the chance to. If I had the power to go back in time and not go to the Cayman Islands, then I would not do it, because so many great things have come from this. And when you think about it, I'll give you an example. This is when you play it. I was interviewed the day I got home, and this is what it was. Are you gonna play it? Oh, and keep in mind my vocal cord is paralyzed, so I sound weird. Is it gonna work?
Good evening, Rob. We sometimes cover a lot of sad stuff around here. This is not one of those stories. It's a story of hope, of recovery, of a community coming together to make sure one of their own knows they are loved. And tonight, the recipient of all that support is speaking out.
You know, it's just every day gets better. So, I mean, I have the hope to keep going and never quit.
17-year-old Harrison Zierenberg is home.
All right, give me some coffee.
He's drinking his favorite cup of Joe. He's smiling, watching soccer.
Feels great. I like this.
It was just a few months ago, in April, that Harrison nearly lost his life. While on spring break in the Cayman Islands, crossing the street, a car hit him head first. See that large section Harrison is holding in his right hand? That's how much of his skull was lost.
I've come a long way, and there's so much more I can do.
Harrison attributes much of his recovery to the support of family and friends. His girlfriend spent hours at the hospital. That support again on display Thursday as he came home. Hundreds of ribbons lining Midlothian streets, nearby schools, staying Harrison strong.
I have been bedside with him every day. So this is a dream come true.
His mom, Leanne, knows there is still a long way to go before he gets back to lacrosse. There'll be some lifting. There's already been remodeling. And while Harrison tells us he still can't taste or smell, walk, or speak like his old self, he vows to keep at it, all with a smile on his face.
Thanks for all the support, guys.
So as you can see in that video, they pointed out, they put a lot of emphasis on, like, this is not a sad story and he is happily recovering at home. People seem to be surprised at the fact that such a tragic event brought happiness not only to me, and as he says in the, as he said, like, the community coming together, all of you guys, I'm sure, were involved in it. Every time I see you guys wearing my shirts, I'm like, I can't really say anything. I don't know how to react to it. It just moves me in a type of way I can't explain. But the community did really come together, and the positive impact it made is amazing to me, how all of us were able to come together in order to make my life better. I know that sounds selfish, but it's just it's surprising, and it really makes you think about how it takes one tragic event to bring a community together. Well, what if it took just nothing for our whole community to come together whenever something bad happened? So I made this collage of, oh wait, did it work? Is it still working? Oh, okay, there. And then that's all the good things that had happened to me. I can go down a list, and that's just speaking about our community and what brought that to our community. You have like kids like making Kool-Aid or whatever they did in that one picture, and I got a free ukulele from my speech therapist because my vocal cord was paralyzed and I couldn't talk. And there, there's a lot of cool, I met a lot of cool people at the hospital. I'm still friends with all of them, and it was Honestly, it's been a great experience. My life is awesome. I love my life, and people may think that I might be sad because of the problems that I'm faced with right now currently, and that I will be facing with the rest of, I don't know, like a year or two. But I just don't see it that way. I see the positives and all the good things that have happened. And I'm gonna close with this picture. This is something I had in my hospital room window. I always had it on my window, and regardless of what happened that day, and regardless of what accomplishments I was able to do or how far I walked or whatever it may be, I always went back to my room and I would look at that slogan or saying that the day was awesome. And to tie back around with a lot of the talks that have been going on with today, you have to think about, yeah, I may not have walked as good as I did yesterday, but I'm alive, so today is kind of awesome. And my call to action for you guys is to, next time you get an F, think about all the A's and B's you've ever gotten in your entire life. If you have to, make a physical list, and you can tally every single A and B you've ever gotten and all the F's you've gotten. And I'm 100% sure that most of us in here would probably have 0 F's or C's or B's, D's, and have hundreds and hundreds of A's or B's. You have to find the positive. And I actually had a conversation with my bus driver this morning, who she is going through nerve pain in her leg right now for I don't know why. But the gain and the pain thing, when my nerves are reconnecting in my left leg, because I wasn't able to move it at all, it was paralyzed at the time, when the nerves reconnect, doctors told me it will be the most painful thing you could ever go through in your entire life. Yes, it was extremely painful and no medication worked, but just the idea that it's hurting, that meant that my leg was waking up. That meant that I was going to be able to move my left leg one day. I just had to get through the pain. So that back to the gain and the pain thing, that's just one example. So I'm asking all of you guys is to just wake up and know that you're blessed for everything you have, and that you can be as happy as you want to, as long as you look at the positives and the negatives. So thank you.